Peserta ketiga adalah SMA Negeri 1 Magetan atas nama Ananda Reisya Irfani Farizaldi dan Izratul Azizah. Waktu yang disediakan adalah 10 menit untuk speech dan dilanjutkan 20 menit untuk tanya jawab yang akan langsung diajukan oleh para juri dan audiens. Untuk peserta apakah sudah siap?
Siap.
Baik, untuk peserta yang ketiga silakan dimulai dari sekarang.
Each day I wake up and face the same old routines, getting wide awake by the sun, rushing to the bathroom and getting dressed, or sometimes it is just me in my pajama though. And finally, torturing my myopic eyes with 12-hour sight on my laptop screen. At some points, I also fall for many distractions here. My TikTok notification is alluring my attention. And just like some other online students, I can actually say that I'm a pro at multitasking here.
Yes, it is relatable for me as well. For the 2 years trials, these routines at home are slowly blinding me. When I was in primary school, I remember one of my teachers said, "Education was made with a goal, but looking at how it's being done now, I cannot see any single goal ahead of me." Right, Reisya?
Absolutely correct, Izratul. Alright, so hi everyone, standing here, I'm Reisya Irfani Farizaldi.
And I'm Izratul Azizah.
And we are the representatives from Senior High School 1 Magetan. As what you heard earlier, yes, on this special occasion, we'd like to talk about how the ideal education should be implemented and projected amidst the COVID-19 pandemic in our country, Indonesia. Right, Izratul?
Yes, that's right. Honorable judges, the pandemic is a big problem that faced by the whole world, including Indonesia. The existence of this virus has a big impact on various aspects of life and paralyzed the several sectors, including education itself. As we know that the concept of online learning is never plain on the national education system before. But unfortunately, this pandemic has changed everything. Schools were closed, and students and teachers were laid off. Education has changed drastically with quite big transition. So, how does the education keep going? Can you explain it to us, Reisya?
Yes, for sure. My honorable jurors, when the pandemic hit Indonesia for the first time in 2020, I was a 9th grader. It was about 2 weeks before the final exam started. And yeah, each day I heard my friends, families, teachers, even the strangers on the street and the news on TV talking about the spread of COVID-19 virus in Wuhan, China. I didn't even have any idea that it had come to this country. I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be another deadly virus of the decade.
Yeah.
But now, ta-da! Look at the condition now. My thoughts were completely wrong. It's all crushed. Can you relate to that as well, Izratul?
Yes, it's like you usually hear from the other students when they were asked to talk about the changes of education because of the pandemic. It started with the announcement, study at home for 2 weeks. Yes, that's right. It's really happening that way. I was really excited, of course. Oh my God, we got holiday, right?
So true.
Yeah, but guys, the word 2 week here transformed into 2 years, which was really unexpected. There's a lot of things that we faced during at this time, right, Reisya?
Yes, absolutely correct, Izratul. So this pandemic led us to a whole new program of how the education is being held, none other than the online e-learning system. So all of us here, whether it be the students, the teachers, and also the institution itself, is faced with a condition where they need to learn and adapt thoroughly. The school is being challenged to create an innovation on how they could possibly run the education continuously. Well, we see that the only solution that appears to fit into the criteria of the distance learning is about this remote learning system. So you might be wondering, right, what is the remote learning system? Is it the same as the remote control that we used to turn on the TV or something? Well, it might be yes, it might be no. So, can you explain it to us, Izratul?
Well, basically, what we call a remote learning system is a situation where students and educators are not physically present in traditional classroom environments. It's utilized development that we have in this modern era. The matter at school related to technology. It could be like about discussions and video conference and also online assessment. Well, the whole program, it might be sound really promising and fascinating. When it was implemented for 2 months, I was actually very happy. It looked like a homeschooling.
Yes, so true.
And I was like, oh, finally, I could feel how it's like. But guys, it's not that easy, right, Reisya?
Yes, I agree with you, Izratul.
Yeah.
So facing the changes in online learning system, well, many students have culture shock and cannot adapt well here. So the student social quality also declines. Not being face-to-face makes them unable, right?
Yeah,
to
that's
kind
right.
of like socialize optimally,
Yeah.
right, Izratul? So here, we know that the biggest challenge for our students is actually themselves as well. Here, many of them end up neglecting their duties and responsibilities as a student. So the cheating culture is also getting so much worse here because the tests are held online and without any direct supervision. So here, failing with all this kind of like existing technology to adapt here, if
Yeah.
we fail at it, then it is not going to work. Then we don't get this like understanding of
Yeah,
the learning materials
true.
really completely. Well, I can't speak for each of you in this room, so let me tell you my story. It's going to be a very interesting example.
Okay.
I can guarantee you. So, my story is about how the remote learning system transformed my chemistry subject into my least favorite subject. So chemistry, as we know, has all these kinds of atomic reactions, molecule structures, and whatever else that's there. And now, like surrounded by all these distractions, especially with all this multitasking agenda, I can't bring myself to understand the learning materials that were being taught. Now, I don't have that much chemistry with the subject of chemistry. And now, it's exactly like how my routines that I mentioned earlier are trapping me and blinding me. Now, I cannot see any single goal that's ahead of me, right, Izratul?
Yeah, that's right. Although there's a problem that we face during the online learning, this condition also gives a positive impact for the students. They have a lot of time with their families at home and the opportunities for the younger generation to explore all of things related to technology. And they have a lot of time to find out and develop their skills and abilities. But we need to keep in mind, guys, that there's only a few people that have an actual privilege to be impacted by this positive state. There's a bunch of students who are not born as lucky as the other ones. And it was really sad. They maybe not have enough technology and a harmonious family and the other aspects are right, Reisya?
Yes, that's totally true.
Yeah.
So here, you might be wondering our main question. It is like, what are the steps that we need to take as students or as any parties here to be able to create a whole implementation of ideal education? So here, problems that occur in the online learning system need to be solved by analyzing all the factors that affect the inhibition of it and finding the best solutions to all these problems. Providing free internet quota for students and teachers is also a form of optimizing the online system itself. Right, Izratul?
Yes, that's right.
So what about the steps that we need to take as students here? Can you explain it to us?
Okay, well then for us, the younger generation, the step that we can take as younger generation to deal in with all the problem that in this pandemic era is use technology as means to add insight and develop our potential, our special skills as agent of change. And most importantly, realize our duties and responsibilities as a student. Right, Reisya?
Yes, absolutely correct. With the ideal system, our incredible goal, of which the education is trying to actualize, will not be blurred anymore. With the ideal system, our nation's progresses, which moving towards to, will untie all the blinding heights of this nation, of this era, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And here, I want to state this one last thing.
Okay.
I can see clearly now. I can see clearly now. That's what we want to hear from our young generations, from our students here. All of joy, their excitement of joining the education for the bright future ahead.
Yes, that's right. Okay, guys, that's all of our speech for today. Hope you guys can learn a lot of meaningful lesson and be capable of being as agent of change in this education sector, again, of our nation, Indonesia. Thank you very much.